Welcome back to 101 Business Radio. Today we're going to be talking with a business consultant, because one of the things we're finding in businesses now, we can look at somebody else's business, and yet when we look at our own, we tend to just to have that bit of a block, a bit of a blind side, and can't see it as clearly. So having someone looking from the outside in is certainly a worthwhile thing. And joining me in the studio is John Hardy from Peak Consulting.
Really happy to have this conversation.
What people call coaches around. I've had a bit of a discussion with you, and you really seem to be coming across as more of a business strategist. You seem not only to be able to guide people, you'll have some advice pieces behind that. But just a little bit about your background. How did you get into advising people?
This happened over 1999 to 2001. It stopped quite significantly and kind of suddenly for a large telecom as a job. And during that time, it was kind of reassessing what I should be doing, where I should be going. And my wife was very good in that, in helping me clarify what it was all about. And we landed on coaching. And I've thought about it a few times. How we landed on that, I don't know. But we landed on that. And then all of a sudden, we made the decision. We set up the business. And I started getting phone calls. And nobody knew what I was doing. And so I launched into doing business consulting into organizations. I did a few of those. I did one-on-one coaching with a number of people. And that was now 15 years ago. And it's been a great life. And I'm still doing it today and still working with new clients even today.
When you're working, I mean, because we come across businesses and they're all in different phases of their businesses, and I'm sure you see lots of variety. Is there any common traits of when they actually get to call you in, John? Is there some reasons why they get you in at the start?
People get me in for all sorts of reasons. They get me in because they recognize if I don't make a change, it's not going to happen. The business isn't going to resolve the problem. My staffing issues are still going to be the same. All sorts of reasons why they realize I need a coach. I need someone outside my organization to have a confidential conversation with, where I can actually engage in crystal clear thinking about what's really going on in my business and a strategy and an action plan to actually move forward.
Do you have a formula, or do you have a set way when you actually introduce yourself? So say I was a business, I'm listening now, and I'm considering engaging a coach or a consultant or a strategist like yourself. Are there certain things I should be actually considering or writing down and go, okay, these are the things I should be asking for, these are some of the things I should be looking for? Is there any guidance around that?
That's a great question. What I do is I meet with the client, with the potential person that wants to be coached, and I simply ask them a lot of questions. And the first question is, tell me about your business. And then they tell me about their business, they tell me what's going on. Then I will ask clarifying questions to maybe open that up a little bit more. And it's a simple question as, can you tell me some more? Because I'm wanting them to simply open up and just tell me their story. And from that, I can get a fairly clear picture of what's going on and what the problems are within the business. I ask them, is this what you're facing as a problem? They recognize it. They've already told me about it. They then say yes to that, and they begin to understand, yeah, that is, and begin to own, that is my problem areas. And then, of course, they say, can you help me with that? That's what a business coach does,
right? Is
helping bring that clarity into their world so they can actually deal with the stuff that they've been avoiding, running away from, hiding, all those kind of things that they do. But they know on the inside, they actually want to do something about it.
I'm laughing because I can relate so well. I think we've all been there from stage to stage. So are there any common traits that flow through businesses, like common problems you come across?
Poor planning.
Right.
Most businesses don't have a good plan of any kind, whether a business plan, a marketing plan, a strategy plan, an implementation plan, an action plan. They don't have that. They struggle with time.
Right.
What do I do with my time? It seems to run away. I'm working long hours. I don't have a lifestyle. They don't have good metrics on their business, so they don't understand their client metrics, their marketing metrics. They don't understand their finances.
That's an interesting when it comes to client metrics, isn't it? Because I think sometimes when things start to go a little bit wrong or desperation creeps in, we seem to go, well, we'll just grab anyone as a client. That can actually be to the detriment of the company.
Oh, absolutely, because clients can take you off down rabbit holes that are not effective for them, and it's not their place of sweet spot where they're actually going to have that client come back again and again because that client likes their services, likes the product that they've got, and they struggle then because it's like firing a shotgun. And what a good coach does, and this is what I'm trying to do, is take the shotgun off them and give them a bow and arrow.
Right.
That's what I'm working on doing with them.
So when they're looking at their clients, because that is a big one, and I can certainly relate to that. When they're looking at their clients, what's some of the questions they should actually ask themselves about clients they take on? I mean, I used to run a building company, and we did movable walls. So that's all we did, real office walls you could move. And people say, well, can you build me a gyprock rock wall. It doesn't move, so we don't do it. And they used to say, but you can. And my answer was, I can also drive trucks, but I don't.
Yes,
So
that's
I'm
right.
not doing
Absolutely.
that. So
Yeah, and that's having a very clear focus about what your business is all about. And it's not all things to all men. It is, like you said, movable walls. Oftentimes because they don't know their clients, they don't have good metrics, they don't know what they do. They don't know what their widget is. Unless they
Right.
really describe their widget, they can't describe their client. They live in a fog, and they're often then, I have regularly, I'm fighting fires, I'm fighting fires, I'm fighting fires.
yeah, I can relate very well to that. When I very first started, went down a few rabbit holes. So if I was to, just in a short space of time, if you're looking at the client, because that always seems to be a really good one to start
Yes.
with, how should they go about defining their client? Where does it actually start, do you
In their
see?
database.
In the database.
And most times people actually don't know they've got a database.
Right.
Every person who comes in the door that they get details from, whether it be a client that they are giving a product to or a client they're receiving product from, they're clients of theirs and they're in their database. Oftentimes they actually haven't developed a database.
Right.
They don't know where their client comes from, the suburb
Yep.
or the city council. They don't know the age of the client because that really is quite distinctive. They don't know whether they're male or female, and they don't understand
point.
whether they're actually a business for males or for couples or for singles or for women. They don't understand that. And so what I encourage them to do is simply, whenever they have a conversation, ask those questions. Is it a male or female? What suburb do they live in? How did they find us? And begin to just gather data. And within a month, they can have some very interesting data that they can actually work with.
I can imagine.
And it's very easy, just taking the information down on a simple sheet, on a piece of paper, that anybody who has a contact with a client takes those details.
And does that lead then to them being able to become more clearer on their purpose statement, I suppose, for lack of a better word? Is that where you're developing so they get more clarity so people in the business also understand what they're doing?
Because I mainly deal with the business owner,
Right.
it's actually working with him to work with him on his business,
Right.
not just in his business. Now, I know they are quite cliches, but they are incredibly powerful words because many times business owners are in their business. My job is to pull them out, get a helicopter view so they can work on their business. So if a staff member who's answering the phone calls, it's working with them to actually design that sheet of paper and training them, not just telling them. Telling them really doesn't work. Training them,
Yeah.
which is very simple. It's giving them a tool that they can use straight away in simple terms. So you can tell them, this is what I want you to do, but if you train them, and there's a simple method of what we would call show and tell. I'll show you, and you tell me, show you, you tell me, and then they get it, and they can run with it. So it's helping the business owner understand those principles, get his staff in the various areas that they need, and just get them to put a system in place, a simple system, and start operating it. And then the owner then gets that information, and I work with him, and actually we ask the question, what does this information tell us about you and your business and your client? So it might have an impact on the purpose, but that's probably a little bit down the track as we discover some more aspects about the
as
business.
you uncover it.
Yeah, that's right.
So I suppose when someone starts to work with someone like yourself, and this is pretty intense, you say working on your business now rather than working in it. And I can imagine one of the things that may come up in their mind is, do I have the time? I'm so busy
right.
in it. Do I have the
Yes.
time to do this? How do we get around that?
That's another really good question about how do you deal with time. All of us have 168 hours in the week, and we work 40, 60 hours on our businesses. It's asking the question, what am I actually doing with my time? And so, again, I've got a very simple method of them simply recording what they're doing with their time with no judgment on it, just telling me and telling themselves what they're actually doing with their time. And again, we would then sit down after that and ask the question, what am I doing with my time? So can I delegate it? Can I stop doing it? Can I start doing something new? And there's a whole bunch of questions that come out of that. And then we look at, there's lots of ways in which you can look at what you're doing in your week and put a strategy in place. And then I would then, and this is what I do with all my clients, ask them the question, clarify the purpose, help them make a decision, and then next time round we bring the accountability in. So what have you actually done? What blockages arose? How are you going with that? Let's talk about the next steps. If you've got it, and if you haven't, what do we need to do to help you?
I think that's excellent. And the next steps is certainly excellent. John, I know you've only got a limited amount of time, but I'd really like to thank you for coming in today. That was excellent. But talking about next steps, I think the next steps, if someone is running a business, they want to get some clarity and want to start working on their their business rather than in it, and free up some of the personal life and some of the psychological pressures that go with it. You can contact John Hardy at Peak Consulting, and even if you just want to ask John a question, drop him a line at john@peakconsultancy.com.au, and I'm sure you'll be very happy to answer the email, John.
Absolutely happy to do that.
If you missed any of this interview or you want to listen to it again, go to our archives at www.101businessradio.com. You can check out this interview and many more. And stay tuned for more to come on 101 Business Radio.